Welcome back. Welcome back to the Kovacs Report. We've got a new #1 from Marvel, which I've been looking forward to, and that is Alien versus Captain America by Frank Tieri and Stefano Raffaele. So, I've been super excited by this. I like Frank Tieri's work. It's another one of these 20th century studio tie-ins where they're going through a lot of the movie monsters. Some of them have been really good. The only one for me that's been exceptional is the Alien vs. Avengers miniseries by Jonathan Hickman and Esad Ribic. That was a fantastic book. I recommend you pick it up. But we're here to talk about this one. I mean, look at this cover. Cap taking on all these aliens, overwhelmed as he usually is. The odds are stacked against him. His shield raised in defiance and protection as he punches these alien goons out. So there we go. The cover had me at hello, honestly. Let's dive in. So I will be looking at this page by page. So there will be tons of spoilers, so do read it first. If you want to spoil, like the video if you can, and please do hit subscribe. That'll be fantastic. Okay, let's get this working. My software's playing up. There we go. You see what I mean, guys? Always a problem. Now, in the blood-soaked shadows of World War II, Captain America hunts Hydra's venomous agents through Europe's ruins. There are whispers in the cold winds that Baron von Strucker is in search of something that could help the Red Skull tip the scales of history. But no one could imagine the horrors that Hydra is willing to unleash on an already broken world. So we are World War II. So we're getting World War II Cap, which I always like. I love it when we get World War II stories. But anyway, Cap's doing what he does best, which is taking down these Hydra goons. Look at them. They are just getting slapped about. They are no match for good old Cap. Where is he? He screams, right? They are looking for Baron von Strucker, and we find out they're in Castle Strucker. Yes, the infamous castle during 1944. We get a very, very smug-looking classic costume. Bucky Barnes there. I love it. And of course, I'm interrogating him, but this soldier of Hydra is not giving up anything. Defiant till the last. And of course, he ain't going to spill the beans. But what he is going to do is he's going to bite down on that poison capsule full of the Red Skull's red dust. And as you can see, it turns him into a red-skulled corpse. Okay, he's not talking. He's not talking. They're in trouble. They want to know where Baron von Strucker is. Well, where is he? Well, he's in the Himalayas. As you can see, at this very remote bar atop a hill. That must be a very cool bar to visit. But anyway, here he is, and they walk into this place. The locals are there, music playing, laughing, joking, enjoying a nice drink during the winter hours. And the music stops, of course, because these be strangers, right? That always happens when you walk into a bar, okay, and you're an outsider. Now, you can see here they've all got their Hydra insignia on the back of their jacket. So you know who it is, right? It's von Strucker and his goons. And he's asking a question. He says, my comrades and I require a guide. But where are they going? Well, they're looking for the fabled city of Attilian, the home of the Inhumans. And the music switches back on. Everyone gets back to what they're doing, laughing and joking. They're not being taken seriously. So Baron von Strucker, he needs to make a statement here, and he needs to make himself a little bit more clear. So he announces who he is, that he's the commander of Hydra, and he shows off this very, very, very dangerous-looking metallic hand here and grabs the barman. Or some stranger here who says, you know, we don't want any trouble, get out. So he crushes him. He just crushes his skull with his bare hand, blood everywhere. And I think he gets the attention of everyone now. They know he ain't playing. So he grabs another potential victim, shows the electrifying tips of his fingers, and a brave local stands up and says, please, no more. I will take you. And that's what they do. Now, the pacing on this book, all right, gets you straight to the point in a better way than a lot of the other books that are pumped out from Marvel, because sometimes you get a book where they just want to get you to the story and they're too lazy to give you all the stuff that leads up to it. Now, this is a very fast-paced book, but it gives you everything you need along the way. And I really, really like that. Anyway, we are here at this sort of entry point in this mountain, I take it. And the guy says, the people here, they consider those who reside in Attilian to be gods, and as such are fearful to disturb them. Hence why they were reluctant to take you. But I will lead you to them and be rewarded. Yes, you think, this townsfolk person was just in it for himself, really. Anyway, we carry on. We find these markings, okay? And what we will learn from these markings, these hieroglyphics, is that they represent the lost royal family of the Inhumans. They exist only in legend that tells us they were one of the most powerful and revered Inhuman clans in history, but they just disappeared, and no one knows what happened to them. Well, I think we're going to get a good idea what happened to them soon, right? Judging by the title of this book. Anyway, they find a button. Of course, they find a button which opens up a secret stairway leading further down into what? We don't know. Anyway, now the guide has proved he proves useful and outlived that usefulness of Baron von Strucker. Just shoots him cold blood drops him to the ground. But he has the last laugh, because in his dying breath, he says, "Good luck, fools. You wanted to see gods, but I took you to meet demons instead." So in actual fact, he was a good guy. I'm glad. Anyway, these ancient inhuman hieroglyphics talk about the lost royal family, how they ruled in peace for centuries, but then they were killed by a plague of creatures from outer space. And we see those very, very familiar looking shapes in those hieroglyphics. Of course, it's the aliens. It's the xenomorphs. Wow. But he says, well, then where are they? Where are their riches? Where are the weaponry? You know, they're on a time limit here. Baron von Strucker knows that Red Skull is already very impatient, okay, and he's waiting for him to come back with something he can use against the Allies. So where are the weapons? Where is the mystical, I don't know, device, whatever it is they're going to find to turn the tide of the war for the Nazis? Well, when they press this magic button here, it opens up this huge cavernous tomb with these giant effigies, these giant statues of these inhuman kings and queens, I guess. And tombs. Now, when they open the tombs, they find the familiar skeletons, but there's something different with these. Well, they've got their chest and their rib cages burst out, the king and the queens. And they say, well, there's something else. There's something else about these carvings, okay? There's another tradition, an inhuman tradition, which is to bury the dead with what killed them. In their case, this was it. And we see those very, very familiar alien eggs. Now, with the presence here of von Strucker and his Hydra men, those eggs start hatching and all these facehuggers start flying out. Guns are raised, bullets are flying, but you know what? These are alien facehuggers. Not much you can do about those guys. But Baron von Strucker, he's quick. He uses that sort of metallic hand to grab one, electrocute it, and I guess incapacitate it. Now, the three of them escape. And they think, holy hell, we failed. But Baron von Strucker, you know, ever this sort of tactician realizes that they found their weapon and it's in his hands. Now, we get this nice little splash page. As we do, we jump back to occupied France a week later at some kind of sort of secret Hydra bunker on the seaside. And these POWs, these Allied forces, are being ferried into a room by these Hydra agents. For what purpose? Well, it's to act as hosts for these hatching eggs. Now, how have they got lots of eggs? Well, it just turns out that the facehugger that von Strucker captured was, in fact, as you can tell by this giant tail slashing one of these POWs in half, an alien queen. So it's pumping out eggs. Very, very fortunate for the Red Skull, who we find here chatting to good old Zola. And he says, listen, Red Skull. He says, we'll have to rein her in if she doesn't behave herself. And Red Skull says, as long as she continues to produce eggs, Zola, and we continue to produce specimens for those eggs, then I can release my new alien army upon the world and truly lay claim to this war in a way even the Führer cannot. Hail Hydra. And I really, really love this rendition of Red Skull. He looks really, really evil here. The art is actually really nice. I'm really enjoying the art here. Now, days later, we find Dum Dum here with good old Fury and his Howling Commandos on some kind of mission. And they've come across this town, which looks like it has been absolutely decimated. All the townsfolk are lying on the floor in the rain, covered in blood with their rib cages sort of exploded from the inside. So, you know, they've obviously been ravaged by these aliens. Now, after the throbbing up and the sheer sort of disbelief in what they're saying, they find an unlikely survivor, and she lets them know that monsters have come here, sent by Hydra, and that they were used as test subjects to breed whatever those things were. And what kind of things? They were like big black bug things. But before she can finish her sentence, she has a little bit of a stomachache, as you can guess, and her chest explodes. And one of these alien face-hugging babies, well, one of the aliens actually, not the face-huggers, one of these aliens bursts through her body, and old Fury's in a bit of trouble. And he's fumbling for that pistol. Is he going to make it in time? He's not, but it's lucky. Because Cap and Bucky have turned up, and they knock it out to the ground and squash it before it can do any harm. Now, good old Fury's not happy about Cap turning up, and he says, you know, I didn't need your help with that. And we don't need stinking Captain America's help with this mission either. But Cap informs him, well, to answer the first part, you're fiddling with your gun says otherwise, Fury. So you're welcome, because he saved his life. And as far as the second part, considering we may have a genuine War of the Worlds on our hands, Uncle Sam says otherwise. So basically, we're going to work together and take down this alien threat. And there we have it. That was the book. Do you know what? I really enjoyed it. At first, I read it and thought, you know, it's just one of those normal classic tales. You know, it is nothing new, but it was exciting. It was paced well. The dialogue was nice and sharp. We've got the alien threat, which we all love, okay? We've got Cap here in his classic costume with Bucky Barnes and goddamn Howling Commandos led by Sergeant Fury. So what more could you possibly want from a World War II yarn spliced together with aliens? Nothing. It was great. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad they've done all the setup really quickly in this book. Nothing's been sort of left out. It's quite clear where we're going with it, and I'm all on board. It looks like a whole bundle of fun. I'm going to go back to that amazing cover. I really, really love this cover. So this is definite thumbs up. I don't have much more to say about it other than it was really good fun. I read it while I was having a cup of tea in a cafe this morning, relaxing, reading the books for this week's reviews. And I tell you what, it left a little smile on my face. So there we go. I'm looking forward to the next one. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments. Please do like the video if you can. And definitely hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to grow the channel here. I'm trying to make it the go-to place for just pure, honest reviews. Sometimes you'll agree, sometimes you won't. But what you'll always have is honesty. There we go. Thanks very much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe.